Hey, my name is Justin Pate from the Wrap Institute, and welcome to round number 9 of the Never Stop Learning online wrap contest. I love this contest because it's all about learning, and if you guess how long it takes me to wrap a certain object, in this case, the back lights of this Audi A4, you win a super cool prize. And the prize this time is from Lux Auto Concepts, and they're a sponsor of this round, and they make a lot of innovative products, and they're really well known for what's called LightWrap. And LightWrap is a cast film with air egress features, so I can actually wrap these lights dry, which is, back in the day you had to do everything wet, which is a pain in the butt. So now I've been able to have cast material where I can really flex and get it around, got that air egress feature, lowers the install time, so I can customize a car super quick and exciting and make a lot of money, which is awesome. And speaking of money, the prize this time is worth around 800 bucks. So LightWrap comes in 2 versions. They have a gloss version and what they call a stealth version, which is matte, and it comes in 3 different hues. They have light, medium, and dark. So what you're going to win is 5 yards of each hue of the gloss and also of the matte. Awesome stuff, and they'll ship it right to your door. Cool stuff. So basically, that being said, let's get to wrapping. All right, so I'm gonna get the clock ready, got all my tools ready. In this case, I got my pieces pre-cut, got my heat gun close by, got my squeegee with a buffer, application glove, and so you don't need a whole lot of stuff, but the one thing you definitely need to get, I highly recommend, is getting some knifeless tape, because again, this involves some tricky cutting, especially around backlights. Once I got all my tools ready, the clean and prep is just getting all the edges cleaned and degreased, ready to rock and roll, and that's basically it. So that being said, and I'm gonna get super deep into the product as we rock and roll. I'm gonna start the clock, so you're about to learn a lot and maybe win a lot. Cool, so the clock has started. So let's get to it. So when you're tinting lights, you basically want to get full coverage, because not only do you want to not see red, but you also don't want any light to sneak out. So in this case right now, because of this gap right now, and I'm wrapping both lights, I'm going to open up the hatchback right now to give myself space so now I can wrap back into this section. So once I got that set now, all right, in this case right now, this car was wrapped about 2 weeks ago, and this was wrapped as part of a product video. But even then, let's just say you wrap this car for a client, and the client wants some light wrap to kind of customize this back section. That's what light wrap is all about, is customizing, you know, lights, headlights, front lights, back lights, you know, side lights, everything. So basically the idea now is if you wrap the car and then you go to cut off the excess material around the light, there's a chance that you might, in this case, cut the wrap or cut the paint. Definitely don't want to do that. So the reason why I'm putting knifeless tape down, and this is design line, has a nice flexible line inside so I can handle the curve, and I could also snap it off with my hand at the end so I don't have to use a knife. So the idea right now is this is just a nice safe way to cut the excess of material around this section here, because otherwise definitely run that risk of cutting the paint. So I highly recommend taking a few seconds, a little bit of knifeless tape, good to go. So that's my prep on this side, and I want to make sure I wrap behind the gap here, but this is a nice cut that I can use my blade on, so I don't need knifeless tape there. Once I have that set, now I'm ready to rock and roll. So basically what I'm going to do is going to release the liner, get everything set right to here, and you always want to start with what I call a hinge. Once that's set, pull the backing paper off, and then get the material just set to here, all right? Now what I like is, because this can be installed dry and has the air egress feature, this is all about reading tension. Now what's interesting about wrapping back lights, especially, not necessarily so much on front lights, is you have these recessed areas. So right here is a recessed area. I don't want to bridge and jam the material in there. If I can pick it up right now, and I can feed it in. So right now I'm taking my application glove, and there's lots of different gloves on the market, but this one I can kind of pick the material up nice and high, and I can feed it into this gap. And if I can feed it in there, that means there's no tension at all. And if there's no tension on the material, just like in life, everything's hunky-dory. But if there's tension somewhere, that can lead to problems over time. So pick the material up, feed it right into that gap right there. So now that's fed in right now, what I want to do now is stretch the material. Now to stretch the material, what I want to do right now is I want to give it a kiss of heat. So I'm going to pick the material up, give it a kiss of heat, and this is going to help it conform around the corner. So by giving the heat right now, I can pull the material, swing it around the corner, and then right here I'm going to help it kind of get around this bottom section here, pick the material up, and just work in little baby stages and read those wrinkles, and spread the material out, and pull it nice and clean to the bottom. Awesome. Pull it right to there, just kind of snap it down, spread it up nice and high, pull it around the corner, and this is what I call creating glass right now. So right now, it's by kind of pulling the material, stretching around and making it super smooth right now, I can now squeegee the material onto the surface. See a little bit of wrinkles right there. So I pick it up, stretch it out, forming in right to there. And this is where that air egress feature comes out. Now, if you don't know what air egress is, basically what the manufacturer does, in this case for Lux, is they put little channels in the adhesive. And what that does is when I go to squeegee now, I don't get any bubbles, which is super cool. So this is what makes wrapping with LightWrap super, super, super fun. So once I get the material on, you can see how easy it is, okay, to get on. Give it a little bit of heat, anchor it in the right spot. But now, talk about tension. What do I got right there? I saw some wrinkles, and wrinkles are a sign of tension. So I gave it a kiss of heat, and what the heat does is it relaxes that material, kind of shrinks it almost, and then I can take it to the edge now, and when I take it to the edge, it's going to hold for the long term. So it's all about finding that balance, shrinking, seeing the tension. So now that everything's on, this is what I call doing a 360. So I'm going to go around, and I'm looking for tension. Everything looks pretty happy. So I'm going to pick the material up right here. I'm going to cut back the excess film just a little bit right now, and I'm going to release the knifeless tape. So put my knife away, hold the fold, pull, and I'm just going to pull the material right around this gap right here, all the way across. So a nice safe cut release right here, cut the material away, pull the excess material away here. Awesome. Now the trick right now is this. Watch, I'm going to pull one of the green tapes away, and this is what happens when you cut knifeless tape. It always cuts the green tape exactly in half. And watch what I do. I'm going to pull off my gloves so I get a nice grip, and I'm actually going to pull the material kind of towards me. By pulling the material towards me, what it does is it releases off the car and allows me to tuck the material into the gap. Super cool. So in a way, I'm using the knifeless tape as a tool to kind of pull the material away from the vehicle so I can tuck it into this gap. So I try to keep pace with the squeegee so I don't get too far behind, and then I get the material right into that corner right there and good to go. So it doesn't go all the way under, so what you want to do sometimes is you can pick up the light with your hand, so hopefully you have strong hands, and you pick your hand up and I push the light up. In this case now I'm going to push the light down. So one thing I really want to emphasize, and what's really cool about installing Tint on lights, especially Lux, is the fact that I don't have to take off much hardware. Basically by using knifeless tape and knowing that the light is a little, you can play with it a little bit, think how much time I save by not having to take this light off. Awesome stuff. So once I tuck the material behind, now I got full coverage. Awesome. Then I come to the back side. What I want to do is relax it one more time. Double check that my corners are down. Corners are always tricky with backlights, so I want to make sure it's down nice and tight there. See a little bit of tension at the corner. Give it a kiss of heat. And again, that kiss of heat just relaxes it. So I double check to make sure it's good on the edge. Now that it's good on the edge, I'm going to take my knife, cut it on the top side there, and then I basically just get the tip of my knife right in that groove. So the car, in many cases, if you have your right setup with your blade, will hold the blade for you, tuck the material away, and bam. So the back side is done. And the only way I want to finish right now is just double check it with heat. And heat again, just make sure everything sits. Double check the side, double check the recessed area, double check the top. Cool, stage one is done. So now that stage one is done, the thing is though, I like having the hatchback open, right? For this one, it was awesome. I can get back here, and I have to do the same thing for this one. I want to make sure I cover the red right there, but the problem is, this is hard to work at right now. So what you want to do is you want to get a cool tool like this. So this is basically like a backdoor prop, they call it. So I'm going to stick it in here, lock it in, and I can pull this back down, and now I can work at a manageable height. And lots of companies have this tool. Okay, this is a particularly good one from Canada. And I'm basically going to do the same thing, but the difference now is this right now, is this transition. So now I have a transition towards the underside. That's why I thought this was going to be a particularly cool video for the Never Stop Learning contest, is I got that transition at the bottom. So in many ways, this is an easy light because it's flat, but then I got that tricky bit at the bottom. So I'm going to show some good tips and tricks for that, using knifeless tape again. So now you might be thinking, what's the story with tinting lights? How can I make some money off that? Well, basically, it's a nice standalone job, right? So basically, a lot of people, like a lot of DIY people, they actually do Lux quite a bit on their own, because basically, you don't need a lot of fancy tools. You basically just need a squeegee. So in this case, squeegee, application glove, heat gun, or even a hairdryer, right? And what's nice about it, again, you don't have to take off a lot of hardware, like I said, but what you can also do is you can use it as an upsell. So for, let's say, this color change, all right, on this color change job, we wrapped the car and we got X amount for turning the car gray. That's cool, all right? But now you're gonna see in just a few minutes, you can actually add tint to the lights. That's an upsell, which is cool. But then you can also use this stuff. You can use LightWrap as Chrome delete. So what we did as the Wrap Institute, we do this a lot, is we actually made the product video of LightWrap. So if you want to see more in-depth information about this material, definitely check out that video. And then while we were making that video, what we did is we actually made about 16 videos, detailed videos about how to use this material in different areas of the car. So what I highly recommend is getting a membership to the Wrap Institute, and you get unlimited access to all the videos in our library, particularly the ones about Lux, which is awesome. So here, I'm going to take the heat, give it a kiss of heat. I'm going to take the material. I saw a little tiny wrinkle. I picked it back up, and I relaxed it, and now I'm taking it back down to here, into this edge. It's getting a little dark under here, so what I did before is I got this light set up, and I highly recommend if you're an installer getting these type of lights. And now I can do something like this, and now I can see what I'm doing. So I got these big filming lights, but in tricky bits like this, it's hard to get full access. So again, investing in some good portable lights with magnets really helps. Kiss it with heat, double check that it's down, always looking for tension. Pick the material up and I'm tucking it into the gap. So what I did is to get around this edge right now is I used a relief cut right there to transition. Gave it a kiss of heat right there to transition. And then here I want to transition to the backside, so I'm going to make another relief cut and then pull the material around. And I'm going to do the same thing at the top, where I make a relief cut at the top so I can pull the material around. Once I do that, I can relax it on the side. And once I relax it on the side with heat, I can come back in with my squeegee and then take it right to the edge. Awesome, cool. So now I have everything at the edge. I'm going to do the exact same thing I did on the other side, is I double check for tension. It all feels good. I think the first place to cut the excess material away now is, and I'm actually going to leave this on so I can see where I'm cutting at the bottom, is I'm going to release the knifeless tape, come to here, and I'm actually going to cut the string so I don't cut any farther. I'm going to pull the excess film away, then I'm going to take my squeegee and I'm going to pull the green tape. I'm going to make sure I don't pull too much right now. Always be careful. Pull the green tape and then tuck the material right into this gap. Awesome. So once the material tucks into that gap, get super deep inside there, and now I got that full coverage and I didn't run the risk of cutting the car. Peace of mind, which is awesome. So now I can just kind of follow my cuts all the way down. So here, I'm going to come around here, give it a kiss of heat, give it a kiss of heat, double check it. And this is kind of a tricky cut. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take what's called the safe box, and you can see all my used blades in there. I'm going to click it so my blade's extra sharp. And now that my blade's extra sharp now, I'm going to come over here. I got a good light. I double check that it's down right there on the corner. Always want to make sure that it's wrinkle free right there on the edge. Awesome, cool stuff. Now I've been talking about this material that I'm putting on, again, is the LightWrap, and it's their smoke version, the gloss, right? And they also have that stealth, the matte version. What we should also do is go to their website, because they have some really innovative finishes right now for the taillight film, the LightWrap film. They have carbon, they have forged carbon, they have brushed, they have all sorts of patterns, you know, like finishes. So again, you can also really customize it, and you can actually even print on it, which is super cool. So if you just say you do a commercial wrap for, you know, the plumber in town, you can actually wrap the back lights with the print, which is super awesome. And that's one of the things I said earlier at the beginning of the video, that Lux is one of my favorite companies because they're just super innovative. John does really cool stuff with his products, really thinks outside the box, because again, you're creating that awesome customization, but not just with gloss and matte, you're really kind of coming up with awesome patterns. So once that's set, the final cut, again, this is the tricky one, is I want to make sure that I cut on the right side. I'm cutting on the side of the car. Again, this is a tight gap. Once I make that cut, pull the excess film away. Super cool stuff. So with that said, I'm going to leave that light on just so I can really kind of see how to finish strong. Everything's on, but you always want to finish strong. So that's the biggest thing, is coming in with the heat now. I'm going to double check the corners. Good to go. Double check the bottom. Double check the corner. Double check right here. Finish right to here. So now that all the edges are sealed, this is what I call sealing the deal. You want to come in and just go over the main area. Check for bubbles. All the bubbles come off nice and easy because that air egress feature. Once that's done, cool. And then the final stage right now is just cleaning up my workspace. And notice that none of the trash hit the floor because I have my trash can right here. So you always want to make sure that your workspace is clean, because if you have a clean workspace, I pretty much guarantee you that your wrap is clean too. So one of the things we say on the Wrap Institute is your workspace reflects your wrap. So once we have that set, I'm going to pop this open now. I'm going to remove the tool, set it to here, take it in my hand actually, drop it like it's hot, finish it, and that's pretty much it. Don't have to post anything because I didn't bridge and jam anything in. I fed it in, so everything's nice and relaxed. All the edges are down, and I think that's it. So basically let's stop it, 13 minutes and 51 seconds, I basically tinted the back lights. So if you times that by 2, you're basically tinting the back lights in about 26 minutes. And that's a really good money, because the money you can charge for this is really high because, again, you're creating that super custom look. Super safe for the road. Just make sure you put the right tint on the front lights. That's basically the only light. You use the light version, not the medium or dark version. But on the back, you have your play. This one's the medium version. You can also go darker, and then you can do those custom finishes. But again, if you guessed 13 minutes and 51 seconds, you just won $800 of Luxe LightWrap, which is awesome stuff. So hope you learned a lot of stuff in this video. And again, if you won this prize, congratulations. Again, super cool stuff, super cool product. So a big thank you for Luxe for sponsoring this round. Thank you for watching, and look out for round number 10, which is super exciting. That comes out next week. Thanks for watching. Justin Pay.